Yeah, once again it's on. This is your local neighborhood DJ, DJ 360, back in the place. And we're here with another interview courtesy of Who's That Lady ENT.com. As a matter of fact, you can check us out on the web, Who's That Lady ENT.com, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Pinterest. Just type in Who's That Lady ENT.com and be prepared to be excited. Be prepared to be adventurous. Be prepared to be thrilled by the No Gossip website. No gossip, no gossip, no gossip. All facts, all entertainment. Check it out. You know what I'm saying? But right about now, we're going to go into an interview with a legend, a hip-hop legend, an icon from New York, representing NewTroit, as a matter of fact. New York and Detroit mixed in, mashed up together. We're going to sit down with Spyder D, you know what I'm saying? Legend on the mic, legend on the basketball court, legend in hip-hop, you know what I mean? So after this break, we're gonna listen to one of his new tracks. Right about now, it's called I Hate Being Black. If your eyebrows are raised, you'll hear what's up with that in the interview, you know what I'm saying? But coming up, we got this song called I Hate Being Black. New hit, new jam, new slapper by the legendary Spyder D. So just sit in your seats, hold on to your seats, get you some wine, get you some popcorn, and kick your feet up and just kick back and listen to Who That Lady ENT.com, DJ 360, we in full effect. But we going into it right now. I Hate Being Black by Spyder D. Stick around, we got the interview coming up. One love. Who's That Lady ENT.com. Yeah.
Man, it ain't no jobs. It ain't no kind of opportunity in the hood. I hate being black. Word up. Tired of this. See, I was born too soon. My mama's womb couldn't hold me. Prematurely born, or that's what they told me. A Negro child born into this world. Life is hard for little black boys or girls. Opportunities are slim or none. That's right, son. Chances are you'll die by the gun, or needle, or be incarcerated. Or maybe if you're lucky, your beat will get cross-faded on a mixer, cause you a real rap star. Or maybe you'll grow to be 6'8" with a handle. But watch 5-0, cause they'll blow you out like a candle, like Cornbread, Earl and me. Sorry, that's a fact, that's what it is when you're black. It is what it is, and I am who I am. Do I really hate it? Let me see. Let's debate it. Yo, on one hand, I'm brown skinned, born with mad rhythm. On the other hand, I'm handicapped due to my nation's lack of inclusionism, creating a human chasm that's a deep divide between those who have and who haven't. Let me see. Who do I wanna be? The color with all the opportunity, or should I stay in the ghetto amongst the high violent crime community? That's why I hate being black, cause that attracts crooked cops and laws, drug deals, mad state appeals, long sentences when you caught in a trap, for real, yo. That's why I hate being black. That's why I hate being black, cause that attracts crooked cops and large drug deals, mad state appeals, long sentences when you caught in a trap, for real, yo. That's why I hate being black. Maybe if I was Chinese or Asian, my math skills would be blazing me a path to be a brainiac. Wouldn't smoke crack or sniff dope, nope. But because I'm born black, they put me in a cage. Ghetto rage, I keeps a frown. Why should I smile? My life been screwed for a long while. That's why I drink cheap malt liquor. It's quicker, my hatred getting thicker. Though my president is black, I still got no green. Motown is in ruins. Is this a nightmare or a dream? Cream, cash rules everything around me. But if you black, I know you're seemingly drowning in poverty. So you start robbing B to feed your fam. Damn, it started off so good, but now you a wanted man. If you was in trading places, would you be Dan Aykroyd or Eddie Murphy? If you had the choice, would you be the pilgrim or the turkey? Young black males being shot down like deer, license to kill us and then go drink a beer. Hear me when these words I say. I hate being black, black then, now, and today. I hate being black.
That's right. We back, ATL. This your local neighborhood DJ, DJ 360 once again, and we back in New York. You know what I'm saying? We took a trip out to the West. We came down to Atlanta. Matter of fact, we're back in Atlanta with an artist who is a native of New York. You know what I'm saying? One of those legends that we've been speaking on and talking to over the last, time we've been here with the 360 Mix Show in the 360 neighborhood. We've talked to Kool Mo D and emcee JB from JJ Fad all the way up to, reality stars of today like, Tara Wallace and Peter Guns from Love and Hip Hop New York. But we back behind the microphone. We back behind the recording consoles in the studios. You know what I'm saying? And we touching down with none other than Mr. Dwayne Hughes himself, Spyder D. What's happening, sir?
DJ Trey 60. What's up, dude?
Oh, man, I'm in the house, man. You in the house. I'm feeling good. We had a previous conversation which could have been an interview all in itself, all the information, man. It was great. So it's good to follow up today, man. And we down in Atlanta with this hot weather. It's about time we, got these 80 degrees, you know what I'm saying? So but we about to chill out, you know what I'm saying? Even though it's hot outside, we're going to chill out right here in the 360 neighborhood right now. And we're on the line with Spyder D. For the people out there that, are getting hip to Spyder D or need some more education, man, tell them about Spyder D and what he's about, man, and how you embrace this hip hop culture.
Yeah, well, first of all, appreciate you having me on. For the listening audience, my name is Spyder D, hailing from Hollis, Queens, one of the original Rush Productions, Russell Simmons artists. And I got started in this business a long time ago, like 35 years ago, 1979. And I was the first rapper to put together and produce and release his own recordings under my NewTroit Records imprint, which is actually back in vogue today. We're signing new artists, so if y'all got some hot tracks or some hot raps, y'all can hit us at www.NewTroit, like New York and Detroit, records.com, NewTroitRecords.com. And, I've been around for a while and saw all of the changes in the game. I'm still here doing my thing. Just released a new project called I Hate Being Black, and also just finished the book I Hate Being Black. So, I'm still supporting hip-hop. I have nothing but love for the young artists out here that's doing their thing, whether I agree or disagree on how they do their thing or what they're doing their thing to or what they're talking about. As long as hip-hop survives, I'm good.
Wow, yeah, definitely. And as you all heard just now, he's been in it for a long time, still doing his thing. Now, before we get any further, I want to touch on the titles of your new project and the book, I Hate Being Black, for all that may have raised the eyebrow when he said that. Just touch on that so everybody can get some clarity as to where you're coming from with the substance and the title for these projects.
Well, as far as I Hate Being Black, that's a very strong comment. And I decided to write that. Everything I write is based off of experience. And I've witnessed and heard a lot of people not happy. It's not that they hate being black. It's not that I hate being black. We hate what black people have had to go through over the past 400 years or so here in America, where we're supposed to be equal. And, that's also a synonym for hating whoever you are. You can hate, obviously there's a lot of suicide that goes on in our society, and a person that decides to kill themselves obviously wasn't happy with who they were. So there's a lot of black suicide. There's a lot of suicide in our society in general. And the whole point of the record was to open a dialogue, open dialogue that people, because communication is always the key.
Right.
So if people are talking about what they don't like, what they fear, what their problems are, the more apt they are to get help, and the more apt there is to be understanding. And that's what we need in this world, is more understanding. So as an elder statesman in the hip-hop game, I think it's incumbent upon me to bring up certain things, to open a dialogue, a healthy dialogue, so that people can express themselves in a forum, as opposed to expressing themselves by detonating bombs or hijacking airplanes. We could avoid all of that if we just communicate with each other.
Right. That's very important, man. And for everybody that's listening as well, what Spyder D is talking about, it capitalizes on the whole hip hop culture idea. It's not just about the music. It's not just about the rapper or the DJ. It's more to it. You know what I'm saying? If everybody understands hip hop culture, it's more about the lifestyle. And when we talk about lifestyle, we're talking about how people can be safe and how people can communicate, like you said, and learn how to communicate with one another in society and become productive citizens. And when you said when you mentioned the title to your new project and the book, it makes me think about two things. One, when Nas had the album called Nigger, it raised a whole lot of eyebrows. It raised conversation. And when he had the hip hop is dead, and also if you have let's say you're 10 years old or 12 or even 15 and you walking down the street and your shoelace keeps coming untied, you know what I'm saying? You're going to say, damn, I hate these shoes. Even though you don't really hate them, you want your shoes, but they keep coming untied, so you feel a certain frustration about them. So is that kind of where you're coming from? Like, damn, I'm black. Every time I look on TV, somebody's getting beat down or we're having this type of problem in our community. Is that kind of where you're coming from with that analogy that I drew with the shoelaces?
Absolutely. And, at first people, it did raise some eyebrows to people I know, and people didn't really understand, just judging on the title. But I can guarantee you this, and I challenge your audience, if you Google I hate being black, or if you go on Twitter and you put on a search for I hate being black, you will be surprised how many people utter those sentiments on a daily basis for one reason or another. But, one of the things that I was hoping to accomplish with this track is for Black America to hold a mirror up to itself. Look in that mirror and see who you are and see what you can do, because let's face it, we're profiled, we're looked at by law enforcement and other ethnicities as a certain way, so and I hate to bring this up because it's a tragic reminder, but the Trayvon Martin case,
right?
Obviously, this gentleman, Mr. Zimmerman, was scared to death of Trayvon Martin.
Right.
It was based on a stereotype. Trayvon Martin was simply a kid going to the store to get his favorite drink and candy. That's all he was guilty of. But because this man was so into stereotypes, he saw a hoodie and just knew this was a hoodlum. He just knew Trayvon Martin was up to no good and had weapons on him and all of that, and none of that was further from the truth. And education there would have helped. If he wasn't so afraid because a dark skin or a black kid had on a hood, in his mind, all he saw was somebody that was dangerous.
Right.
And so, there are some things that we could do, not to saying that we got to change who we are in our culture, but there are some negative things about our culture. Let's face it, running around with your pants hanging all down off you. I mean, we don't need to do that. What does that accomplish? So there's a lot of things that we can do as a people that can reverse these negative stereotypes that we ourselves help perpetuate.
Right.
We can't blame anybody else for that.
Exactly.
Now, it's unfair to be profiled. It's unfair for a lot of things. But once you know that is indeed and in fact happening, you have to make adjustments, because you don't need to be on the wrong end of a Trayvon Martin situation, or even the gentleman that was gunned down in Florida in a hail of bullets because they had their Jeep playing their music at full volume.
Yeah, Jordan Davis.
These things can be avoided, and there's one way of looking at it as well. This is America. I can play my music as loud as I want. But I come from the school of being smart. If you know something, you're going to get singled out for something, and you can avoid it. Why not avoid it?
Right.
If it's not paying you or feeding your family, means you don't necessarily have to do it. In the case of Trayvon Martin, I'm not sure what the weather circumstances was that day, but wearing his hood, had this gentleman, Mr. Zimmerman, seen his face, it might have been different, or if he wasn't wearing a hood, that's no excuse. That could have been my son, that could have been anybody's son. But again, we have to be self-aware of the society that we live in. Right. Until we make certain changes, and I don't mean to be all preachy, but, I've survived a lot. So, again, it's incumbent upon me to talk about things to a younger generation because I'm still here and I could have been gone a long time ago. But there comes a time where you got to use your brain because God gave us a brain to use.
Yeah, and me being a big fan of hip-hop, not only just the culture, but just the music in itself, and seeing my favorite artists on TV or listening to them on the radio, and now to get a chance to really speak to them and really see what's going on behind the scenes with them, because without being able to go behind the scenes from a fan's perspective, you look at your favorite artist or you look at hip hop and say, okay, where's this person or that person, and what are they doing to keep hip-hop what it is or keep the society and the community straight. Now I see that there are artists such as Spyder D who are actually doing things and initiatives to make sure that people are, not only just acting right, but thinking before they act. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important what you're doing, man, because a lot of times I say, okay, where is Rakim? What is he doing? What is KRS doing? Even though they may be doing something active or doing something important for the communities, that type of thing doesn't get pushed through the media. All the charities and whatnot that people may give to silently. It doesn't come through. So I'm glad that I have the opportunity to have this this conversation with you, man. So a lot of your ideas and things can get across. But as you can kind of see, we're starting at the beginning, or starting at currently, and we're going to go back a little bit. So if I take it back to the year 2000. The first song we played at the top of the show was Yes, Yes, Y'all. And a couple of days ago, I had an opportunity to get on YouTube and look at the video. And I saw that there was there's like three different things that I saw in the video. I saw one with the basketball aspect being important to you. Second, I saw the car and the ladies. And then third, I saw a club scene. How has that kind of changed over time as far as hip-hop is concerned, where the visual, now that we have videos and whatnot, and now that it's kind of changed to where, do you feel like it's important or necessary to have different elements to the visual of an artist in current hip-hop, as far as the appeal goes to to the masses and how it gets across?
Yeah, well, the game started changing back in the day when Michael Jackson broke down the color barrier for all artists. We need to give thanks and pay homage to Michael Jackson for that. Unfortunately, back in those days, as an artist on Profile Records, I never did a video. In fact, I never had an album with them. I was a singles artist with them, and as the game was changing, people started doing more videos, and it's definitely good. It gives a worldwide audience a chance to see who the person is that they've been listening to and whose record that they like. So a visual aspect is very important, and on that particular track, Yes, Yes, Y'all, that was a homage to, 'cause that was right around the time the game was really starting to change. And so with Yes, Yes, Y'all, I wanted to take it back to the forefront of when hip-hop first started, when a common phrase was Yes, Yes, Y'all to the beat, y'all.
Right.
The visuals in that involved being in the park and playing ball, because I've always associated hip-hop and basketball together, because I used to play a lot of basketball, and in the summer tournaments, there was always DJs in the park during the game, after the games, and it's just part of that whole culture. And, of course, pretty ladies go where the music is at.
Right.
So that's what I was trying to just kind of remind people that this is the essence of hip hop, and that was kind of the whole idea behind Yes, Yes, Y'all. Just remind people the essence of hip hop was not about getting together for the sake of beefing and fighting and craziness, but it was about having fun, respecting each other, and dancing and socializing. That's what hip hop is about. It's a culture. You know, in the book I Hate Being Black, I was just again taking it back and reminding people that Africa Bambaataa used to be a warlord for one of the biggest gangs in New York City.
Right.
And when Bambaataa formed the Universal Zulu Nation, the whole intent of that was to get people to start handling and settling their beefs in other ways, like, you know, breakdancing and battling and rap, as opposed to stabbing and shooting.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it just, you know,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you don't like that person don't like you, okay, then they started breakdancing and, oh, okay, I just did a move better than you.
Yeah.
You know, everybody gets to live at the end of the day behind that.
Right.
So, you know, hip hop is as bad a rap as it gets. It's actually been very, it's been very influential on race relations and people settling their differences in more peaceful ways.
Definitely. And while you're talking, man, it's like I connected words that you were speaking to movies that I've seen. Like when you mentioned how you know, the battles of the, you know, the breakdance battles. I thought about Beat Street and that whole battle at the Roxy. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, you know, we gonna see you later at the Roxy. It wasn't like they were gonna fight or anything. They just brought their crew. They got busy. At the end of the day, you know, they were able to breathe and continue. The second movie I thought about was Friday, when Craig wanted to smoke Debo. His dad came out and, you know what I'm saying, like, put the gun down, put these up, your fists. You get to live to fight another day. You know what I'm saying? Then I also thought about what was the other one? Slips my mind, but I try to connect visuals to what the words that people speak, so that I can put in perspective, and it makes a lot of sense, man. So
yeah, that Debo, that's classic old school, you know. And you know, if everybody remember the movie, that was Pops that was telling them that.
Right.
He's like, yo, you know, beat him down. You know, if he beat your ass, sorry. You know, at least you live to fight another day. And it's a respect thing too, man. It's like, you know, back in the days when I was coming up, all the families were large. So if you was fighting one, you knew you was gonna be fighting a whole bunch.
Right.
So that kind of kept the peace, because it's like, yo, they got like 50 people in their family. I'm gonna have to fight all of them. So people would chill. Now it's like, yo, I'm gonna shoot you. Then they gonna come back and shoot 3 of your people. Then they gonna come back, and it's like,
yeah.
You know, there's no point in that. There's no honor in it. Let's put it like that.
None at all, man. And there's no I think the respect level even among youth is declining drastically, man. It's like every time I listen to the news, I see just last week, or you know, within the last 2 weeks, there was a young man, 14, man, went into school after killing his grandmother. He was bloody, you know what I'm saying? He had the knife on him still, and they found out that he had the knife on him, and he was covered in blood walking into school. You know what I'm saying? He got to school after the metal detectors were turned off, so they didn't detect that he had a weapon, but he had just come from killing his grandmother. It's like back in the days, nobody even thought about doing that. Nobody. You can't even talk back to your grandmother, let alone take her life. And
these are the reasons why I penned and produced a song called I Hate Being Black, because we are better than that.
Yeah.
You know, we need to represent ourselves better than that. So every time I use the hashtag I Hate Being Black, I'm bringing out something that we do or that's done to us. And so it's a two-way street. There's things that are done to us, and there are things that we do to each other that makes me take pause, because it's generally only us that's doing that.
Right.
And it's like, you know, we need to look at ourselves, you know, and we also need to make society look at us better. And even if they don't look at us better, we're going to represent ourselves better.
Right.
It's like you don't hear enough about the positive things that African Americans do, because what's going to get more headlines is about something negative that they do. It's like DMX has a episode, and that becomes like, the word spreads on that like wildfire.
Right.
But you don't hear about something good that Chuck D did in his community, or something very positive that's happening. And it's up to us. It's not up to nobody else. It's up to us. We have to show people who we are and what we're about. And if wearing my pants all the way down to my thighs is what I'm about, then guess what? I'm going to get back what I'm putting out.
Right. Exactly.
And
man.
so that's, I don't, styles is one thing, but, there's a respect factor.
Definitely.
And it starts with yourself. You got to respect yourself.
Right, exactly. And, I think, artists such as yourself, and also people who have different family members who are able to give that guidance, I think that part is very important as well. But if we go into the other visual of the video, Yes, Yes, Y'all, where we go to the basketball scene, I know from speaking to you prior and doing some research a couple years ago on the the CBA and the ABA teams that you were part of. Talk about your connection with basketball, the CBA, the ABA, and certain different AND1 players that have you've come in contact with. That it's entrepreneurial in essence, because you're able to not only just be considered a rapper or producer, you're doing things with creating literature, books, the music, as well as ownership in franchises and things like that. And this is another reason why I wanted to really get to this interview, because you're showing a lot of different avenues that people can travel and be, productive, take some losses. I know that everything hasn't been, gravy. People take losses in life, they learn from them, and then they change up their strategy and continue. So talk about how important basketball is to Spyder D and things that you have in the works.
Yes. Growing up in Hollis, Queens, as everybody knows, New York is famous for playground basketball and for basically having a lot of point guards out of that, what they call point guard factories, New York City. And that was the position I played growing up, and I actually earned my nickname on the basketball courts long before I was rapping. I was known as Spyder on the basketball courts. And, technically and realistically, basketball saved my life, so it's always been something that I've held dear to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, at 5'9" with broken knees, I wasn't going to have a pro career, but I've been fortunate enough to have made enough money in the music business that I was able to buy an ABA franchise. That's the American Basketball Association, the old Red, White, and Blue League.
Right.
That is famous for Dr. J and Iceman Gervin. We were in Charlotte, and then we did move 2 years later from Charlotte to Atlanta and joined the CBA, which was actually the longest running league. The CBA was actually a league before the NBA.
Right.
And the CBA at one point became the feeder league for the NBA. Bill Jackson won the CBA championship. Skip to Malou, Rafer Alston was brought up from the CBA to begin his NBA pro career. And we had we were very fortunate to have speaking of New York point guards, New York legend Kenny Anderson was our coach.
Wow.
Another New York legend, Stephon Marbury, used his brand, Starbury, to outfit our team with our warm-ups and our uniforms. And we also had the professor from AND1 was the first basketball player that I signed to our CBA team. And we had a up and down season. There's a lot of injuries and stuff. And the years before that, the team that I was owning was the ABA version of that same team. And unfortunately, I took a heck of a loss financially on that particular venture, and I was feeling kind of down about it. And then a former co-rapper named Sweetie G, who's now Glenn Toby, sports agent, he told me, he said, you didn't lose anything. You just put a down payment on greatness. And, that was
wow.
that kind of woke me up because money may be lost. And he explained to me, these people that own NBA franchises, they don't start off making money. You're going to take losses. It's how you get through those losses and learn from them before you start to make a profit at your business. So we are going to be fielding another team in the 2014-15 ABA season. The ABA now has a TV contract with ESPN. They'll be on ESPN3. They just showed the championship series on ESPN3.
Mm-hmm.
So we're probably, right now, the game plan is to come in with Hot Sauce from N1 as our starting point guard. And I'm planning on bringing Kenny Anderson, former NBA All-Star, back as our coach. And we're looking to have some fun, and we'll be announcing tryouts soon. Anybody wanting to try out, just go to our website, which is www.spydersbasketball.com, Spider with a Y. And we're going to be having tryouts soon. We're also going to have cheerleader tryouts, so all the ladies out there that want to come and cheer on an ABA franchise, just like I say, just go to the website and keep in tune for upcoming announcements.
Yeah.
And, basketball keeps a lot of kids off the streets. I know it saved my life growing up in New York. I lived on the basketball court, and it kept me out of trouble. And it's a great sport. Obviously, with only 30 teams and 12 on each roster, there's only 360 jobs every year for an NBA player, and that's not a lot when you consider that millions play the game.
Right.
But don't give up your dream. You can still make it, and if not, you could always be a coach, a trainer. There's always another avenue into doing something that you love. So don't let the fact that, you got injured or you're just not good enough to be in the pros, you can do something else within that same vein and be very happy and make money at it.
Right. Man, I'll be honest with you, man, about, I would say about 4 or 5 years ago, I would go on the internet probably once or twice a week and go to the website where the Atlanta Spiders, where the ABA site you guys had, mm-hmm. where the cursor was like some stars or on the computer, but I was like trying to figure out when the trials were going, because I was going to go to the trials because I play ball myself. I was going to give it a shot, you know what I'm saying? And even if I didn't make it, I was still wanted to go check out a professional it's basketball. It was just something I was interested in, man, and I look forward to y'all playing, man.
We ended up that season, because that was when we had first signed Hot Sauce, but what I was doing, because of the loss I had taken before in 2005 in Charlotte, I wanted to make sure all of the other teams were solid and going to play their games, because that's how we lost out. I went and leased out a 10,000-seat arena when we were in Charlotte. That cost a lot of money.
Right.
And we had our home game scheduled, and then the teams we were supposed to play had folded. And so we were losing money because we couldn't play the games because the teams that we were supposed to play weren't there. So that particular season you were bringing up, I noticed that same thing was getting ready to happen, so I just pulled everything back because I wasn't going to spend a bunch of money and then find out all the teams that we supposed to be playing had folded. So this year is looking pretty solid. The teams that are in our division, have went through a full season and looking like they'll be pretty solid for next year. So we're going to probably start having tryouts towards late summer, probably like mid-August, no earlier than August 1.
Okay.
And then the season starts in November. So, we'll be putting up the various announcements about cheerleader tryouts, sponsorship opportunities, and, of course, team tryouts. And, yeah, you're more than welcome to come down, man. I mean, just, kind of like duck if you're getting ready to get dunked on, so nobody don't see that's you on the poster.
Right. And and that's really how I got my DJ name was 360, because not because of the 360 dunk, but it was a move I did that I used to watch some guys around my neighborhood do. Go up for a layup, and then they try to block it. So I spin off and do a 360 in the air and lay it up. So they call me 360. So I just took that to the turntables.
Okay, well, yeah, come on down, man. Come on and try out, man. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
And we'll let you know before, ahead of time. In fact, I could just call you up on the personal line and let you know ahead of time before it's even up on the website.
Yeah, that'll work, man. So that means I gotta get out on that get out there and get busy with my get back in shape, man. Not back in shape, but making sure I'm in tip top shape so I can compete. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 'cause we're gonna make you sign a waiver now in case you get hurt.
yeah. But
it's gonna be fun, man.
Yeah, I look forward to it, man. But if we get back to the music, one of my favorite songs, man, and we're gonna go into it right now. And when we come back from the break, we're gonna have Van Silk on the line, the legendary promoter from back in the days, who's been supporting this show, and he's been on with other shows that we've done, and we're gonna get him on the line. But as we go into one of my favorite tracks, and we're gonna talk about a little bit of what I would call kind of a controversy behind this track, Smurfy's Dance. You know what I mean? And what's going on with that? We kind of talked about it a little bit the other night, and it's a real interesting story, and we can go into it as deep as you want to go into it. You know what I mean? Not we don't want to do any.
It's all good, man. I ain't got nothing to hide.
Yeah, cool. So bring us into Smurfy's Dance. Just kind of allude to it real quick on the thought process, the creativity behind it, and then we'll go right into it.
Smurfy's Dance was really the brain child of Vaughn Mason. If y'all recall that super hot record they had, Bounce Rock Skate Roll, which has been sampled and used 1 million times, and it's been in movies. Vaughn Mason and Crew was the name of that group, and Vaughn Mason was a gentleman that I met after hearing Frankie Crocker of New York's WBLS FM play the record. I eventually finagled a meeting with Vaughn Mason, because when I first heard the record, I said, you know what? I'm going to find these cats, and they're going to help jumpstart my career. That's just the kind of way I think. It's like I'll put something in my head, and then I follow through on it to make it happen. I don't believe that dreams are dreams. Dreams are something that you could put into reality. You just got to, go for yours. So That's what I did.
Right.
And, Vaughn was a polished musician, and here I was, some upstart rapper / producer, kind of just feeling his way through the business. So Vaughn was very instrumental in tutoring me and mentoring me as an artist, producer. And it was actually his idea to rap about the dance, the Smurf. I didn't want to do it, to be honest, because dances come and go too quickly.
Right.
So if you're doing a record about a dance, it kind of meant you was going to come and go quickly. But I have to give credit where credit is due. Vaughn Mason was 100% correct. My particular record, even as the dance was fading out in New York, it was catching on across the rest of the country. Sort of like how we just witnessed the Dougie, kind of swept the whole nation.
Right. And we were doing it in California. I remember when I was a kid, man, my older cousins, they were doing the Smurf, man.
And technically what happened, I got credited for starting that dance, but I didn't.
Okay.
It's just that when people were doing it in New York, as it was on its way out, people still hadn't heard about it in other parts of the country. So when Smurfy's Dance, the record came out, I got credited for starting the whole dance craze. which, I took the credit at the time because I was working.
Yeah.
But, so that was a hit record. We had some disagreements on how to make the record. I ended up deferring to the more experienced producer that was Vaughn Mason and his partner Butch Deo. It was Vaughn's suggestion to put that hook line in, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And I hated that. I thought it was corny.
Yeah.
Like, yo, come on, man. I'm from the streets of Hollis, man. I can't be saying head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Right.
But guess what? Once again, Vaughn Mason was right. Everybody loved that hook line.
Yeah.
So that was one of the lessons that I learned, because I was like probably about 21, 22 at the time.
Okay.
And I was still fairly new to production, and this man had a platinum album out. So, like, who am I to argue with a platinum-selling producer artist?
Right.
So, after the success of that, it became one of the more sampled records, and probably the most famous use of it was The Game, as produced by 50 Cent and Dre.
Yep, and we gonna get into it. We gonna touch on that as soon as we come back. That's that right there. Thank you for segueing into it. But we gonna pause right there. We gonna go right into right now the Smurfy's Dance by Spyder D. Great track, excellent sounding track. Great, I love the sound production. Everything is just, to me, that gets it can get a party started even in 2014, 2015, and into the future. So here it is, right here, and we'll be right back with Van Silk on the line. We're gonna get into the production of a remix or a remake of the track by The Game, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent. When we come back, but here it is, Smurfy's Dance by Spyder D.
Hey, yo, this is Spyder D. You listening to my man DJ 360. Word.
Head, shoulders, knees and toes. Smack that body across the floor. Head, shoulders, knees and toes. Smack that body across the floor. Head, shoulders, knees and toes. Smack that body across the floor. Head, shoulders, knees and toes. Smack that body across the floor.
Well, everybody get up, it's time to work from coast to coast. They're doing the Smurf, it's a brand new thing. Going around, it's the thing to do. When it's time to get down, this is Spyder D. Rocking with the crew, making everybody dance is what we're gonna do, but not any old dance. We're gonna do the Smurf, rocking everybody on this here earth. So just get about yourself, forget about your cares. If you wanna do the Smurf, can't be in a chair, cause to do it right, you got to get loose. If you listen to my voice, tell you what we're gonna do. Just bend your knees, girl, you add a little tease. You bop it to the rhythm with the greatest of ease. Then you work your shoulders up and down, or back and forth, and all around. And if you're feeling footloose and fancy free, take a step back and forth, or shuffle your feet, or put it all together, and you're doing the Smurf, the hottest new dance in the universe. So yes, y'all, you don't stop. Let's Smurf it up. You see, it's time to rock. Yes, y'all, you don't quit. If you were looking for a party, this is it.
Head, shoulders, knees and toes. Smack that body across the floor. Head, shoulders, knees and toes. Smack that body across the floor. Head, shoulders, knees and toes. Smack that body across the floor. Head, shoulders, knees and toes. Smack that body across the floor.
Hot track. Matter of fact, we're back, and we got Spyder D still in the house, and we got the legendary Van Silk on the line. What's up, Van Silk?
Hey, what's up, Spyder? What's up, 360? How y'all guys doing today?
Oh man,
All right, peace, legend. How you doing?
I'm all right, Pioneer, legend.
Man, I love it. So we still in the house, and before we went to the Smurfy's Dance, we talked about, a remake that it was around, I guess, 2005, 2006, I would say, 2005, when The Game, Compton rapper from California, produced by 50 Cent and Dr. Dre, touched the song. Kind of talk about that from your perspective, Spyder. What happened with that, and with your track being the one that was touched and sampled and kind of remade?
Well, basically, the whole process started without my knowledge. Someone from Dr. Dre's company, his production company, actually went to my publisher, which is Sony Lustrada, and they actually asked for permission to make use of the record. They had agreed to allow them to use the record, but then they didn't like the terms. From what I understand, my publisher company wanted to keep 50% publishing on whatever the new recording that they did on the game. Dre's company wasn't happy with that, so they said, "Nah, that's all right. Never mind. We ain't even going to use it." And then they ended up using it. So it got disputed. I tried to stay out of it and let that was the whole point of having a publisher fight those battles for you. I made some money, but I'm still owed like 6 figures on that record, and I'm not sure what's the hold up. They tell me Dre's company is the hold up, and I'm like, I'm sure Dre got enough money floating on them headphones that this little chump change they owe me shouldn't be nothing.
Right.
But yeah, that's part of the new millennium. Nowadays, you can't just take somebody's record. You can't just sample a record and do it, and it's okay. It's going to lead to litigation and lawsuits. Back in the days, everybody used to just, jacking for beats, as they say.
Right.
Snatch somebody else's beat and rap over it and put out a record, sell hundreds, thousands, if not millions of records, and there was no recourse. Nowadays, they have actual musicologists that they hire, and a musicologist can prove that a sample was used scientifically. So there's like no way to really get away with it anymore.
Right.
So, for all of you young artists out there, I know when y'all hear a hot beat and y'all be like, yo, y'all want to use that? Trust me, you got to get permission from whoever the publisher or copyright holder is, or you're going to get in trouble. But, you know what? You could do it and sell millions of records and get your career launched, but at the end of the day, they're gonna snatch that money from you.
Oh, yeah.
But it may be worth it because you may have launched your career now, so it might be worth it.
Right.
Depends on your perspective.
Right. So Van Silk, man, based on the different changes that have happened in music. You got say the Smurfs dance, and then years later you have This Is How We Do by The Game. Take us back to talk about your understanding, your view, and your perception and your perspective of Spyder D's impact on hip hop from the early days up till now. Like, what is your perspective of Spyder D and his music?
Spyder D was definitely a different type of hip hop artist. I would say he was more like an artistic. He wasn't in the one I'm gonna battle you for rhyme and all this craziness. From just his persona, not to say he couldn't do it, but he was just totally different with the type of music that he's done. It's always been like different. Like if he was an artist, everybody want to paint the same thing. I'm gonna do something else totally abstract away from you, which was great for hip hop because when we had songs like Smurfy Dance, okay, the Smurf was a hot thing, then he came up with Smurfy Dance. And, everybody was in tune with what that was going on at the time, but he was the artist that did it. You would have never have gotten the Cold Crush and them guys to do those type of things because they were stuck on not moving out of the creative zone. And not to say that was bad, but they were just so much still stuck on, I'm the baddest rapper in the game.
Right.
And in 82, that shit didn't matter no more. It was like, who got the hottest record?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's true. That's true.
Right.
I agree.
When you look at records like Smurfy Dance and what people do for money, those are all abstract, rare records.
Right.
Just like how all these artists go today and take all the stuff that Steeltown has, Aaron Fuchs, and use all the old jazz stuff that he bought years ago and they was on Steel Masters. They'll just go and Kanye them to go just use it. And then they'll just wait for Aaron to come sue them. Because, it's too late now. We done pressed the record. We done sold 4 million copies or whatever, or 1 million downloads. We just going to pay you.
Right.
In our day of music, sampling wasn't even a business. It was more of I got a hot beat. And at one time, it got disrespectful where a lot of artists say, well, we giving life to these artists over again. Yeah, but you're also taking their original material.
Right. Right.
Nowadays, it is a business, and you know better. If you take something, you got to pay for it. If you take the roof is on fire, you got to pay Rockmaster Scott and them. That's their shit.
Yeah.
It belongs to them. DJ, please, we on the request line. It belongs to them. You know, take the train belongs to the Furious Five. You can't take Hot Sayings and use it and think like, oh, I'm going to get away with that. No, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But Spyder D was definitely different in what he's done. With the records he's done, they're rare and they're classics.
Yeah.
They may not be in the lineup of Rappers Delight and all that. He's just like, I have my classics for those who are real true hip-hop heads. Because the real hip-hop head is going to really go to those records that wasn't really played on Mr. Magic all the time and all that stuff. Am I right or wrong, Spyder?
Nah, that's true. In fact, being that you mentioned Aaron Fuchs, for the listening audience, is the founder of Tough City Records, and he's made a career of buying what you call obscure records, because these are records that were great. Everybody may not have known about them, but he knows that real musicians and real artists are going to be checking for those records to do samples off of.
Right.
It's called Tough America. I mean, like, I don't know if he's paying those artists and he bought the master, but when he bought them back in the 90s, he told me he was going to take care of those artists who recorded them.
Yeah, that ain't happened yet, but
well, you know.
But let me ask you this, Spyder D. Now the song one of my favorite songs is "I Can't Wait" by New Shoes, and I know that you remade that. Now, how did that work with you using that particular song? Was it
that's the only record in my career on Profile that I didn't produce myself. Eric Matthews, who also did something with the Disco 4, I think it was We're at the Party, was the one that produced that, but Eric actually played everything and copied it to the letter, which was he did a fantastic job.
It was amazing, yeah.
But it sounded like a sample, but it wasn't. He played everything, and Profile called me and asked me to do the rap over it. Again, it was a little late when they called me to do it, because New Shoes had been on the air already for like 6 or 7 months when they called me and asked me to do it. So the record did okay in America, but it did great overseas. It was like #1 in several different markets, and there was no sampling at all. But even then, in that case, just to educate some of the youngsters out there, even if you have somebody play the music, if you either have to sing the exact same lyrics over that song, or you have to get permission. You cannot change one thing of someone else's music without their permission. So even if you play the music, you don't sample it, but you play it, and they call that interpolation. Mm-hmm. And that's how Dre and them tried to supersede doing my record. They had somebody play the beat on an 808 drum machine, and they duplicated the beat that I created. It's still an interpolation and subject to copyright laws. And so you got to be careful when you're doing that. Or you could do like Peter Guns did when they did that record that was off of Steely Dan. They just housed the record. They said, look, we ain't getting no sampling clearance. We ain't getting nothing. We just going to house the record.
Yeah.
And they ended up getting, obviously that record was on the charts and went platinum, one of the rare occurrences of a single going platinum. And Steely Dan didn't say nothing. They just let it go on, and they waited until Pete and them signed with Sony. Then they went after the money, because Sony had the money. So it worked out for everybody in that particular case.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes it is better to wait. It is better to wait. A lot of these older artists don't want to deal with the new artist attitude because they have no knowledge of what they're doing. See, Dre's been around the game a long time. Dre studied music. He knows music. And Biz Markie knows music. You got to know music in order to make great records.
True.
You know.
Right. Now,
Jay-Z ain't no idiot. He go and find people who know music. You go and get these great jazz records and all this stuff, and it's like, listen, it's a recreation of what was already originally done. And what I wanted to say about Spyder D is saying as an artist, I put him as a Gil Scott Heron of hip hop.
Wow.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people can listen to Gil Scott and don't understand his goddamn music. You know, you got to be musically inclined to understand music, period. You know?
Right.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm humbled by that, Van Silk.
That's what I was trying to remember. And then you just get your brain start getting muddy in it. But that's what I want to say, because I'm only going to learn more about Spyder D, because I didn't know Spyder from back in the days, you know, doing the parties and things, what I call path to him and his Party D. But I always see when he came out with his records, it was like different. I said, it ain't like everybody else's
Right.
thing,
Right.
you know. I'm like, yo, what is this dude doing? But you also got to think, am I making a record for right now, or I'm making a record for somebody to say 20 years from now, yo, this is a rare classic?
Right. Right.
And that's the most important thing. You can find the message and all these records online all day long. Those were classics. But when you talk about rare classic that a person in England and Germany is going to say, yo, this is a good record, that makes the difference of being an artist, you know?
Right. Right. And I think that was like the trailblazing beginning of, you know, being different and intricately, you know, working on your craft and making sure that when you create your product, it's different and it stands out, and you move forward. You got artists like a Ludacris and a Missy Elliott and Outkast who are able to make things that are distinctively different, you know what I'm saying, and kind of go against the grain. So that's hip hop.
But take T. The Rock. When you made this yours, there was nothing you were going to make better than that record. Nothing. It's yours. What more could you have done?
That's a classic.
What more can have you done? When Melno made the message, Duke Booty made the message, and what more can you do?
Mm-hmm.
That's still the best record of all time.
The message.
That's you know, the message is the best hip hop record of all time, and that's saying a lot because hip hop has evolved so much. But when you look at it and you break it down as far as the production, the musicianship, the lyrics, the vocal delivery, that is the greatest record of all time.
Right. And as Van Silk, man, you know, we had this conversation before that, you know, certain individuals need more credit as far as that record's concerned.
Well, I've been spoke to them about that, and I always speak out. You heard I said Duke Booty.
Yeah. I'm glad you said his name, man.
He should have been nominated along with the group. Actually, you know, but you know how the politics play in the game. Because I brought up to all of them about that last year. Matter of fact, 360 got on the interview when I brought that up.
Oh, word.
You know, that Duke Booty should be acknowledged for that. That man is going to go to his grave without a Grammy or an induction to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's rough. He was the, other than Mel's lyrics from the previous release, all of those words were Duke Booty's, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you also got to understand, being young kids again, and then the record label, because I want to talk about those who are not here no longer by calling their name out, set the precedence that way, and then you run with it. You understand?
Yeah.
I mean,
we were all young and excited at the time and just kind of happy to be down and wasn't really looking at the business aspect of it.
Well, hey, but Spyder, you know, back in the days when everybody was out doing, we was all bumping our heads against the wall, not knowing what we was doing from even the beginning or even in the early record stage of the game. No, people don't understand there still wasn't no record budget. You know, there still wasn't no radio station. There still wasn't no promotion. We wasn't even getting mentioned in nothing.
True.
So a lot of people don't understand that a bunch of young black men from urban areas created a culture, and there was no teacher, because all the teachers had already ripped off the artists in the 50s and the 60s at the record labels, the Frankie Lymans and all the guys that we followed at these independent labels that we was all running into. They already did their job, because some of these guys have 4 and 5 different labels.
Very important. That's a very important statement that you just made, because when you brought up the 50s, because what technically what it is and what it still is, the perpetuation of robbing black artists. Black artists have been robbed since the beginning of recorded music history. And when hip-hop or rap music came into the fore, as a new form, and they started selling 12 inches for $4.98 a piece. You know, the powers that be was looking at this like, yo, we got a whole new generation of kids to rob, and now it's not on a 50-cent single, it's on a $5 single.
Right.
Yeah, because you got to remember.
Wow.
You got to remember all the guys that had all the 50s and 60s rock and roll acts created new labels for hip hop.
True.
With the exception of Spring Records that came up with the Posse label, okay? Def Jam was a newly created label, but if you went to Brunswick Records, with Paul Tanaputa had them over there, Art Cass and Morris Lee, you know, they created new labels. Al Weiss and all of them, Barry Weiss uncles and shit, and Junkie Gales, them all when created.
And the funny thing is, and you bringing up a lot of names that bring me back to the beginning of my career, because these were all the cats that I was going to every time I produce a record, trying to get different, because I didn't want to have my artists all on the same label. And so all of these cats you mentioning, and guess what? We didn't have no choice but to go to them, because that's who owned the businesses.
Right. You know, I did a record called The Bass Pipe. Don Oriello had Lisa and Cotan do his deal, right?
Uh-huh.
He would create a whole new label, Public Records, do my joint on Public Records. Now, I wanted to make a record. His love did the beat. It's a rare record. I see it online for $50, $60, $70.
Yeah, true.
Wow.
Yeah, those records do go for hundreds of dollars.
Orlando that had the Pet Shop Boys. And Jurgen Kladush, who had his wife Claudia Barry and all that. These boys went and created labels, man.
Wow.
And that's what I'm trying to tell these young cats today. I'm like, yo, don't shop for no record deal. Now it's just like the crack game. You go buy 8-ball,
right,
and you Nino Brown.
Right.
It's the same thing, and it's the same thing in the hip hop game. It's like, yo, you know, you can digitally release your own music. You ain't got to go to nobody. You know,
right.
Cook up your own product and get it out there on the street.
Exactly. That's exactly a parallel. Let me.
They stuck on no knowledge of the music industry. Let me explain to you what they do. They want to act like they didn't have any ideas about the mechanicals of iTunes. Okay, but now it's easy for you to put your own music on iTunes. But our people are so stuck on getting the advance money, not with the understanding that okay, this money comes back. Oh, I want to be on 106 in Park. Oh, I want to be on the radio station. I want to be on tour. So you done sold your soul by giving away your talents. But today, it's like going to the field hand and looking for a bunch of slaves that's willing to do what the masters say we need you to do in order for us to make some money.
Wow. So
you picking a slave by, the slaves are being picked now by willingly to want to go. They're not being like, I don't want to, oh no, I want to do my own. No, you don't want your own cotton, so you want to go and pick the cotton for the master.
Right,
that's what you're doing right now.
Wow.
After 30 years of this business, when you got iTunes, you got SoundCloud, Mixcloud, you got all kind of clouds, and you can do your own thing and make your own money. Amazon, you can make your own book. You don't need to go to no book publisher to control your written words.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You can upload it on Amazon. You can upload it to Kindle. Like, what is wrong with people today? And then you figure out why they broke 2 years out the business.
It's the lack of education, man, and a lack of reading. You know, if you, like they say, if you want to teach something to a black kid, put it in a book. I mean, if you want them to, I forgot how the saying goes, but the youth and the people that are coming behind us, man, and I'm a little bit behind you guys, but still the generations that are behind me, it's like it's the lack of education. Now let me throw another. Let me throw another name and another record label out there, Spyder D, and tell me what, and give me a little bit of understanding, and the people that are listening, give us an understanding about this label and this individual, Streetwise Records and Arthur Baker.
Streetwise, Arthur Baker. Arthur, at the time he became blazing hot. And Arthur was the creative force behind the Beat Street soundtrack. I used to sit in on sessions with Arthur Baker and Jelly Bean Benitez. They had a whole different way of producing tracks than I was used to. They were the ones that was heavy into the machines, the electronic drum machines, using triggers, all kind of samplers. That was new to me. It was different for me. And, you know, of course, they did the Planet Rocks and those type of what they call techno hop type of records that made Bambaataa and a lot of the uptown artists, like household names worldwide. But Arthur, you know, kind of took me under his wing and let me sit in on sessions. And, you know, I started learning how to take a sound, because sampling was originally meant for you to take one sound, combine it with another sound to create a whole new sound, as opposed to just looping somebody's whole track.
Right.
So I learned from Arthur how to take two different snares, throw a kick drum on top of that, and create a whole new snare sound. And that's kind of what they revolutionized sound quality and sonic quality on hip hop records for sure, and dance records. So, you know, the Jelly Beans, who was a famous DJ and also was the one that discovered Madonna. Those guys had a different style of production. Up to that point, my style of production was hiring a band, taking them in the studio and humming to them the parts that I wanted them to play, and then rapping after they was finished. But when I saw Arthur Baker and they had 2 and 3 drum machines hooked up, and they were using what you call noise gate triggers, where every time the hi-hat would hit, it would open and close the gate on the strings, you know, just some craziness as far as I was concerned at that time.
Yeah.
And so I learned that style of production from them. And so, you know, again, I've been fortunate. I've sat in sessions with a lot of platinum producers, and I combined elements of what I learned in those sessions along with my own style. And that's probably, like Van Silk said, why I was different, because I was incorporating a bunch of different stuff into my own style, which, you know, again, it's just like what sampling was meant to be. You can take this snare drum, and a third snare drum, combine them together, and it becomes a new snare drum. And that's kind of how I try to produce my records, is combining a lot of elements to come out with a new element.
Right.
And Arthur Baker, besides Streetwise and Party Time records, you also got to remember, growing up in New York City, we only had one station with Chuck Leonard. Okay? Now, you have to be of a certain age caliber to understand what I'm getting ready to say. We've grown up as African-American people. We knew who the Temptations and the Four Tops and all that stuff was.
Right.
That's what we grew up on. But at the same time, we had to listen to either Chuck Leonard or the other music they played, Chicago or whoever was out at that time. We had to listen to both. And still at that time, our music was getting played one every 5, 6, 7 records. Okay? Now, you take Arthur Baker, who's of a Caucasian nationality, who already knew his music from the rock age, but also knew the R&B music, the soul music, because they follow our music religiously. Mm-hmm. The Beatles, Mick Jagger, who's doing the new James Brown movie, you know. So what I'm trying to say is, we were stuck on the new hot breakbeat, not going out to say, well, no, what about Chicago? Or what about Led Zeppelin? Or what about, you know, the Grateful Dead? Let's sample some of that. But when they come in, they already had that in their repertoire, and they took our stuff and added it. And that's why they had a little edge of musically inclined.
Right.
So we were just stuck on just playing black music. Dan Bob was the only one I dare you to play a Calypso record at the T Connection. And I looked at him like, yo, what the hell are you doing? You went from this to that. But again, being musically inclined, and you have to be of a certain age caliber. We only have one station in New York, WABC. You remember, Spyder?
Yep, absolutely.
BLS was
a Brucey,
yep.
Chuck Leonard.
Yeah.
So we had to listen to everything they played. So every 10 records was a black record. And that black record was a Motown record. There wasn't no Starlights and no Delphonics. And those records was coming out first in Detroit and Chicago. You was getting those records last because they couldn't get them played.
True.
So when you had Arthur Baker, who's a white guy, rock music, and now I'm an enthusiast of the R&B soul music. Now I know how to gravitate this and make something else do pop off and make it happen.
Right,
You think Rick Rubin is good at what he? Why do you think Rick Rubin is good at what he do? Making records for Johnny Cash. I mean, another guy a lot of people underestimate and look at when it comes to making music is Easy Mo B. He did Miles Davis.
Yeah, he's Mo B is one of those. But you know what, Van Silk, to kind of piggyback on that, this is what issues that we fall victim to. And again, getting back to I Hate Being Black. One of the reasons why I wrote that record is we are the only music that has a shelf life. Why? Because that's the way the powers that be designated it. A rapper comes out, gets a hit record, in 3 years he's considered old school.
Yep.
Nobody else does that, and no other music is we put a shelf life on people's career because somebody else told us we should.
Wow. Right.
And
you know what?
Right. They won't say that. They won't say that about Willie Nelson and Dolly Parton. You know what I'm saying? They can put out a record.
Rolling Stones is 1,000 years old right now, and if they put out an album right now, it's going platinum immediately.
Right.
But you know what the problem is, and I hate that situation because I have a new website coming out called Who's That Lady Entertainment, featuring all our women of color, everybody from all genres, and I put up a tour section. Donna Ross got 45 dates on tour. But you know what? Mary J. Blige on tour. She got to have a new record just to go out on tour. You don't need a new record. You got enough records.
Yeah.
So if you go out right now, start putting some Lean Dion or what's her name with the pointy nose, or what's her, Barbara Streisand, it's sold out.
And not only is it sold out, we talking about premium prices, $300-$400 for a ticket. Sold out.
Right.
Sold out.
Jay-Z got to have a new record with Kanye to go on tour. Like, who told you that?
Right. And I don't know. Could it be attributed to the youthful nature of, what hip hop's audience is? You know what I mean? Like, you got to be young because your audience is young.
If you know how to rap, you know how to rap. It's that simple. It's like Chuck D is a perfect example. I've heard some of Chuck's new stuff, and it's just as good as anything Public Enemy has ever put out.
Right.
But guess what? It's not going to get played in the mainstream because Chuck D got a little gray on his beard like me.
Yeah.
But they designate that to us. If we as a consumer ignored that, then they wouldn't do it. But we don't ignore it. We fall for it.
Right.
It's funny. I'm having a conversation with the former owner of the Clippers, Donald Sterling, who is 82 years old. You got a chick that's 32. Picture Bob Johnson at 60 dating a girl 30. Could you imagine?
It would be a problem.
Nobody never said this man dating a woman 50 years younger than him. It's like, dog.
It would be a problem. He'd be Chester Molester if he did that.
Right.
If I talk to a girl 25, I'm robbing the crib. You have this 90 years old and got girls 25 marrying them, and they got 2 and 3 girls, and nobody say nothing.
And look, this is why, again, these are the reasons why I wrote a song called I Hate Being Black, because these are the things we got to deal with that nobody else got to deal with. Only us. Only us as a people got to go through that.
Wow.
And that was a perfect example right there, Van Silk. This man is like 50, 60 years older than this chick, and she's half black, and he's telling her, yo, I don't want you being around none of them cats. She's like, yo, hold up, but I'm black. He's like, yeah, that's different. I'm knocking you off. I ain't knocking them off.
Right.
And the bad part about it is when I first seen Kevin Hart posted up on Twitter, I'm like, yo, what happened? And they said, well, the owner of the Clippers don't want his girlfriend being around blacks. So I'm thinking, you don't want to be around Lil Wayne or Baby or none of these types. You said Magic Johnson, a black man with money.
It's just a nigga. He's just a rich nigga. That's all it is.
Exactly. You still consider like Kevin Hart say, nigga. So
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? Like, so that means how much money you have.
Well, to be honest,
Y'all remember?
you consider that.
Y'all seen the movie Django with Jamie Foxx?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, remember the scene when the dentist pulled up with Jamie Foxx to the mansion where Big Daddy was staying, where he was trying to get he wanted to buy one of his what they call nigga gals, right? Remember when Don Johnson, who was Big Daddy, he said to one of his female slaves, treat what's that cracker boy? He told his female slave to treat Jamie Foxx like the Peckerwood boy, which is like a lower class Caucasian. But don't treat him like like us, like the uppity white folks. Treat him like a the lower level white folks, because that is still a higher grade than even the richest or most prominent black person at that time.
It's called trailer trash today, you know?
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
But again, that's the point. It's like we allow society to categorize us, tell us what we worth, tell us when our career is over, tell us this, tell us that. When they feel like they can't make no more money or get a use out of us, we're done. And so that's why hip-hop gets saddled with that. It's like a dude 3 years into his career, he might only be 24. Oh, he old school. He got to start going to old school tours now. He 24.
Yeah.
But not knocking Jay-Z, but he's 50. You know, Star said it. Yo, me and Jay-Z the same age, but when is he gonna become old school?
The only reason why is because he got money and he's still cultivating some of these younger acts that come out, so they give Jay-Z a pass. You know, because he'll.
But I'm not using him as an example. I mean, plus he's 41. You know, it's everybody can make money. I mean, if you want to look at it, how funny the game is. Robin Thicke goes and take a record that we all knew what he did.
Robin Thief.
Shout out to Marvin Gaye.
Right now,
rest in peace.
You're gonna do a regular Pharrell and T.I., and we gotta accept you in the R&B section with this song.
That's how they do it. That's how they do it.
Usher would have did it, would have had to been accepted on the pop side.
That's why you ain't got Pharrell and T.I.
Now, what I don't understand is we got to sit up here, and all these young black male singers, so supposed to be singers or whatever you want to call them, hummingbirds, we can't name one, but we got to cater to Justin Vanilla Ice Beaver or Bieber, whatever you want to call him.
That's again, our music and what I'm going to spend till my dying days is trying to educate these young black folks coming up in the business, try to avoid some of the things. I mean, right now I'm doing okay, but I should be retired with so much money, but I was victim myself to the learning about the business and getting robbed and this, that, and the other.
Well, I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
Not that.
But if you don't wish on too many things, because if that's something that you wish that didn't happen to you, you wouldn't be having this conversation.
Well, no, I'm glad of who I am and everything that I've went through, and you know, like that's what I was saying. Is like when I first did, I hate being black. People's like, yo, you hate being black? You hate who you are? No, I hate what I've been through. But again, I wouldn't trade my life for anyone else's life in the world.
But you write in the books, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look how many of our alumni are too lazy to write a book.
Mm.
No.
The history that they have, the things that they could share with people, the things that they could teach the younger cats coming up is like, and here's the other thing about that, Van Silk, they can make a lot of money. These dudes have stories that are priceless.
Yeah, but you know what it is, though? A lot of stories have become unpriceless because a lot of them are changing their own dates to look good. Like I said, when you look at Chuck D, who years ago fought RIAA down in D.C., the girl that was working for Bill Clinton, about the downloading of the music, and now Chuck got his digital thing here. He got the hip-hop guards. He got the thing where you can upload your old music and make money. And Chuck is still working on tour. And every time you do something about Chess Records or he just did the voiceover for Dr. J, you know, if you're a fan, you're gonna buy the person's music. Okay? If you're a fan, you're gonna buy the music. You ain't got to be on Hot 97 or Power 105. If you're a fan, you're gonna buy the music.
Right.
Now,
right.
when you make that post about why I hate black people, I seen it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I seen it was a song. But a lot of people will look at it like, well, wow, what's what he mad about? Because you're a skimmer. You don't read, you want to skim through things and everything. See, everybody want to be a star today. That's why you got the YouTubes and everything. Everybody's a star. Everybody want to be important. All the so-called celebrities don't even do stuff no more. Let's find a way to make ourselves hot on the internet. Oh, well, we splitting up, or we together, or I'm dating this one, or I'm in the strip club. That's their artistic values today.
And a lot of that is, you're right, a lot of that be planning stuff because it's controversial and they know that's going to draw attention. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do that too, man.
Let me say something. I don't even download music and you can get free music. I don't even download it. It's not worth my time, dog. It's not even worth it, man. You know, I'll listen to what artists that still striving. I say artists. You're writing a book. But like I said, there's a lot of our alumni who haven't written a book. Dog, you could be on Facebook posting pictures and shouting out to family members and write a goddamn book and shut the hell up.
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you know, this conversation is bringing up a lot of points that whoever's listening, you see exactly where certain, you know, perspectives are and how you know, this music industry can change, how money can change things, and how, you know, even owners of basketball teams can perpetuate negativity. And it's up to the listening public to determine what they need to do about certain situations, even when it comes to music, when it comes to owning their own music and putting it out. And if you want to be a slave to the system, if you will, Van Silk and Spyder D are two, what I consider legends and pioneers in the game that need to be listened to. And if there's any other legends that may be tapping in and listening to the show or may get wind of the 360 Mix Show, there's always going to be some type of challenge to the older generations to see what you guys are doing, you know, kind of, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about the youth, like the generations coming behind us, because when we're old and gray and in wheelchairs, we got to have that younger generation that is competent, they're productive, and they know what to do to create a society where we're going to live in. I don't want to have to drive down the street and have to get out the way because a young, dumb 25-year-old is driving without a license and can't read the signs, and he almost, you know, hit somebody because they weren't educated about driving. Those types of things are, you know, what we're talking about. Now, as we're going to wrap up in about 10 minutes, but there's so many things I want to cover that I know, you know, I would probably need a whole week to have, you know, a thorough conversation with Spyder D, man. I want to talk about Hollis and the difference between the different parts of the streets, you know what I'm saying? Because I remember a controversy where they were saying that, you know, LL's from Farmers Boulevard and he's not from Hollis, and Run was, you know, from Hollis, Queens, and there was like a situation where there's, you know, if you ain't from certain part of, I guess, 25th Avenue or whatever the case is.
Technically, I know where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Technically, here's the deal. LL was never a street cat.
Right.
L was, you know, he get off the bus, straight to the crib. Now, he lived down Farmers Boulevard, but at a certain point of Farmers Boulevard, it becomes St. Albans and not Hollis.
Farmers is a funny cut street. It cuts real funny. You're trying to be
and it goes far. It goes all the way out by the airport, by Kennedy Airport. And so you could be from Farmers Boulevard, but you're from Farmers Boulevard by Kennedy Airport, and that's now South Ozone. So, you know, I mean, to me, it didn't never really matter because L was never a street kid, you know. You didn't see L out on the street. I didn't know LL until he signed at Rush Productions for management. And even though he was younger than me, he's like more like my brother's age. I ain't never seen LL before in my life, but that's cool. You ain't got to be from the streets to know what the streets is about or to have skills.
Right.
But yeah, Hollis is a very small section that's bordered. And I don't really like where LL lived off of Farmers is if you look at the zip codes used by the post offices, technically that's St. Albans, but it's, you know, they're right next to each other. I mean, he's like right on the borderline, but it ain't really where you from. Although I do like to boast about Hollis since that's where I'm from. But I've learned in all of these years, and Van Silk can attest to this because he's been traveled all over the country and lived all over the country just like I have. And we've both found, everywhere we've been, we found things to enhance our lives. So, you know, I'm from Hollis right now. I'm sitting here in the backwoods looking at bunny rabbits go across my lawn. You know, but
yeah.
I can't claim that in a record though.
Right,
You know,
right.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing as everybody was claiming to be from the South Bronx. Now, I lived in the South Bronx. You know, I lived in 143rd Street and Brook Avenue. So that's the South Bronx.
That's the
you got
South
to go
Bronx,
to my home,
for real.
183rd and Valentine. No, that's the Northeast Bronx. You know, but you know, everybody want to jump in to claim something for their validation.
Right.
You know, Hollis was the
A&R man told him to say that. Yo, say you from here. Yo, say you got shot in the eye 3 times.
Wow.
Right, and D, you know another thing also, nobody was really shouting out Hollis and stuff into running and say we from Hollis, and they made like it was a dangerous. It made it like it was a dangerous place in Queens. It's like, dog, you could be right on St. Albans or you could be on Rockaway Boulevard. If anything, I'll be more scared to go and die Brewer Project or 40 Project than any place else.
Yeah, 40's no joke. The South Jamaica houses. I mean, you know what? Truthfully, Hollis growing up was still half Caucasian when I was coming up. It started getting dangerous on one little part, and that was on Hollis Avenue and Francis Lewis, and
right.
they took that. They actually literally picked up the White Castle and drove it away to stop all that. And so, but you know, it had, and then Andrew Jackson wasn't too far from there, all black high school. So, you know, a lot of that's where the reputation came from. But what I learned is, and I lived in every borough except for Staten Island. I've lived in the Bronx. I've lived in Manhattan. Just before I moved out here to Atlanta, I was living on 142nd and Frederick Douglass. And, you know, I've seen the same things in every borough that I've been in. You might see a little more of it in a certain borough. Queens is the desert. There's no question about it, because their nightlife ain't nowhere near like it is uptown or in the Bronx. Things do close in Queens, as opposed to they don't close everywhere else. But you know, it all became part of what A&Rs wanted you to do and say. Like, yo, you gotta have street cred. Like, yo, put the hat to the side. Yo, why don't you get one of them Dookie rope chains? Like, yo, why don't you do this? And it's funny.
Wow,
it's really funny.
wow. And being that you all talk, and that's crazy, man, because we talked in an interview previous about how some artists, you know, compromise themselves because of their want and their eagerness to get out there, and then once they get their label deal or whatever, you know, once they get a couple dollars, then they start to, you know, perpetuate who they really are, you know. So I don't know. I don't know if it's considered selling yourself out or selling your soul to the devil or whatnot, but you know, some artists do what they got to do, what they feel that they have to do in order to get on. Now, based on the fact that you guys talked about so many spots in New York, I want to speak on the Big Apple rapping track, 1980. You know what I'm saying? Going, you know, kind of bring us into that. We'll go play. We're gonna run into it, and then when we come back, we're gonna, you know, give a shout out to how, you know, people can get in contact with you and whatnot, and we're gonna wrap it up. But I want to just kind of go into Big Apple rapping and talk about that real quick.
Big Apple rapping was created when I was away in Michigan. I was at Eastern Michigan University. It was my first time being away from home, and I was homesick, bottom line.
Right.
And, you know, as much murder and mayhem that went on in New York in the 70s, I was missing the hell out of it. And so that's what prompted me to write that. And so I tried to talk about and kind of take the listener on a musical tour of New York, all of New York, as much of it that I had experienced. And I talked about the hip-hop stars that I looked up to, and I I've never denied where hip hop began and who were my models when I started doing this. I talked about various rappers. I talked about being around my way. I talked about various tourist sites, and it was mainly I was taking myself down memory lane because I was in Michigan and I was sorely missing New York.
Right. And when I talked to you the other day, man, I mentioned I kind of drew a parallel between Big Apple rapping and The Message, kind of like. To me, they were like, wow, it gives you a vivid picture. And me being a California kid, man, like if listening to Big Apple rapping, I can really see and visually, and that's a testament to the greatness of your artistry to be able to paint a picture without somebody being actually. I've only been in New York one time, and it was for like 2 days. We drove for 18 hours from Atlanta, turned around 2 days later, and came back. It was like, dang, I got to get back up there. But as I listened to the Big Apple rapping song, it gave me an idea of what it was like back in the days, and being able to just visually picture those scenes. And The Message is similar to that with me, as far as being able to identify. And another artist that does that for me, a lot of people may not agree, but Too Short, he has a lot of X-rated raps or whatnot. But when you listen to songs like The Ghetto, Getting It, Money in the Ghetto, those socially conscious songs kind of take you on a trip. And he said that Melly Mel was one of his greatest influences, and so I can kind of see where all of that plays into each other. So
Too Short was always one. And again, I like to see when people pay homage and are not ashamed or embarrassed to say that they were influenced by this person or that person. For me, it was Curtis Blow.
Mm-hmm.
Curtis Blow, a lot of, if you listen to my earlier records, I got my diction and how I pronounced words, or even not, I won't say necessarily the flow, because my flow was different. But Curtis was always perfect with his diction when he recited his raps. And so, him and Melly Mel were the two that I looked up to. Mel because of the power of his vocals.
Right.
And these guys, and I say this about Curtis all the time, mainly because Curtis don't get no love. He was the king of rap. He don't get no love now. It's almost like, like he didn't exist except for Christmas rap, because they play that every year.
Right. And
but I mean, like,
the breaks.
Kurt was the first one playing in major stadiums.
Right. And Van Silk, that's one that I want to try to get, man. I'm gonna put it on record, man. If you're listening, legendary Curtis Blow, man, you heard it from Spyder D, man. We trying to get you some love, man. Yeah. So with that being said, we're gonna go right into it right now. Everybody that's listening, we're gonna take you on a trip. Actually, Spyder D is gonna take you all on a trip right now with Big Apple rapping. Was that actually released on NewTroit Records as well?
Yeah, that was a record that I started the label with, because I had been hearing about all of the artists that was putting out these records on these labels from uptown, and they wasn't seeing a dime. I said, man, I ain't trying to go through that. So I started my own label and produced it myself. I wanted to do everything myself, cut out the middleman. So this way I could see where the money was going.
Right. Very important. Yeah. So here it is right here. Big Apple rapping by Spyder D. Let's go back to 1980.
Big stage where everyone has a part to play. You find everything you might need from 1 to 10, from A to Z, and from side to side, from place to place. New York is full of every race, and if you got big cash, you can buy the world. From automatic guns to pretty girls, it's got skyscrapers and sights to see. It's got everybody wanting to be an MC, and you might see there's anything like a bank getting robbed or a pocketbook sting. But don't get me wrong, it's not all bad, cause you can have more fun than you ever had. We've got the Yankees and the Knicks, 42nd Street and the Times Square tricks. Young ladies, go see a play, cause there's acts galore on Old Broadway, and all of you from another land, come check New York out if you can.
But hold on to your credit cards, and if you got it like that, bring bodyguards, because the apple has worms to act tough, and sometimes it can get a little rough. But you'll be okay if you play it cool. Don't act like a punk, nor a fool. Just chill on out and have some fun. This is the MC, that's number one. So all you ladies, open your eyes. You're in a contest, and I'm first prize. I got wavy hair, a rap that's mean, and I always walking against the lean. We got Larry the Fan and DJ Jones. New York is the rapper's home. We got Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, Curtis Blow and Super Rhymes. We got the ladies of Mercedes and Shy Rod to help all the fellas to the very top. We got the Funky Four and Bootsy T, Tanya Winley and Spoonie G. Rappers, repeat after me, this is the Rap Bus Anthem theme, the national rapping anthem theme for those in the club of the Deaf MC. From the first jam play to the early live, and MC's job is to rock it right, rock it right and rock it well. Just move your mouth like how it goes sell.
Yeah. Shout out to New York, all the boroughs of New York, from Queens, Manhattan, Bronx, Staten Island, Brooklyn, everywhere in New York. Talked to Sha Rock. She said I think she's actually being honored up there this year. Along with
Devastating Tito.
Yeah, Devastating Tito, man. We had the honor. And shout out to Van Silk once again. He made that connection work, where we actually interviewed the Fearless Four on the 360 Mix Show, man, and he shouted out about 30 or 40 artists.
Man, that's one of them groups. You'll never hear another rap group like them.
Right.
You'll never hear another rap group like the Fearless Four.
Wow.
They, for example, DLB was doing sonnets. He started his rhyme on bar 1, and by bar 8 is when it connected and it made you go, oh,
right.
Craziness. And they were all so very different, but yet tight. And of course, Furious Five are the perfectionists of that, and the Cold Crush making 5 mics sound like one.
Right.
But I don't think that the Fearless Four gets enough credit for how good they were.
Right. And maybe I can put a link. I got to shoot the link over to Van Silk. Maybe you can check out the interview, man. It was a real good interview. And DLB, Devastating Tito, and all the rest of the guys, man. Mighty Mike C was on the line. It was cool, man. And they got a new song out. Shout out to the Fearless Four. They got a new song called Club Slapper. And it's a really good song. They took that old school feel, mixed it in with the new school, and it's a really good song, man. So shout out to the Fearless Four. So, as we wrap up, man, Spyder D, how can people get in contact with you if they want to find out more? Can you, just restate the website and the information about the basketball, the tryouts for the team, and the other information? And as you know, when your projects get done and your book is done, how can they get in contact with you and try to follow up with your product?
Yes, our label's website is NewTroit Records, just like New York, Detroit, combined together, NewTroitRecords.com. Bookings and management is Gift Management, GIFTMANAGEMENT 2013, Gift Management 2013 at gmail.com. And then I have my own personal website at Spyder D, all one word, SPYDERD.com. I Hate Being Black is out everywhere digitally. I just released a collector's edition of 12 songs, including a remake of Big Apple Rapping, which is called Big City Rapping. And again, it goes into talking about modern day New York. And then I also kind of, tell everybody to shout out wherever they from. And, I'm really, really, really looking forward to releasing what is probably going to be my last hip-hop album. And it's called Spyder D's Greatest Skits. It's due for release June 17th. The lead single is I Hate Being Black. That's out now everywhere. And I appreciate you and it's always good to talk to my brother Van Silk.
Oh man, no doubt, man. It was it's an honor, man. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day, man. We were kind of trying to going back and forth with one another, trying to make it happen, but we made it happen. And once again, I appreciate you taking that time, man. And so everybody out there that's in Van Silk, thank you, man, for patching in and giving your perspective on what's happening, man. We got a lot more work to do. 2014 is just the beginning, man. So shout out to all the people that are listening, from the kids to the adults, hip hop artists, country, dubstep, whatever you do it well, perfect your craft, and make music from the heart. Write your books from the heart, and it'll be timeless, and it'll last a long time. So shout out to Spyder D once again. Shout out to Van Silk and everybody else that has been on the show. Shout out to Sean Garvey and the whole Beat Break Morning crew over there. This is DJ 360 at the 360 Mix Show. We out. Peace.
One.